EWC 2026 here. So it really feels like every week is imperative for a lot of these teams to be somewhat consistent. And to make matters worse at the same time, Sir Cloud, we are bringing down from, instead of 6 matches per day, now it's only 5 matches per day now.
Yeah, that means that matches will just run very, very quickly. Well, also to illustrate to you the prize pool based on this is zooming in onto the weekly ranking, right? So first place will take back $1,000 US, second place $500 US, third place $200 US, and fourth place $100 US. However, from fifth onwards, well, until the 14th at least, they will still get PMS points, but PGC points only apply to the top 4. So every week, ending the week in the top 4 at least is so important.
Correct. It is ridiculously imperative to at least to be at least consistent for the next 4 weeks, right? To accumulate the PMS to qualify to at least be the first top 2 team, because only the top 2 teams will be moving, or at least be qualifying for that EWC 2026 here. And naturally, you also want to earn as much PGC points that are on to at least solidify yourself when PGCs actually really start happening later.
And this is the prize pool for the Phase 1 final ranking. First place will take home $13,500 US, second place $7,000 US. But like what you mentioned earlier on, Yoli, the top 2 will move to EWC 2026. And obviously there will be a bigger prize pool waiting for teams there. But of course, to get to the top 2, well, they have to fight their way through. And it's definitely not going to be easy, especially if you have all these amazing teams on your screen.
Definitely, for sure. And this is going to be our top 16 teams that actually qualified through 3 separate PMS Cups here. So they really battled their way to really qualify for this qualifier alone here, just to make sure they can stay in the game as they slowly make their progress here in their PUBG career for at least here for 2026 here. So far, of course, naturally, we have those who were here during day number 1, you definitely recognize their name as we mentioned down. We have Orgless, Shadow Esports, All the Eco, Team Zanshin, Vega Esports, Savage Man Esports, Armor Esports, and Happy Squad. We're also going to be moving on to our second half of our at least our top 8 here. But we saw some really great games yesterday, Sir Cloud. Like really great games, especially some of the newer teams that's coming into the mix. Although roster-wise, you do know the players for sure. You definitely recognize them from their previous team, from a previous tournament. However, with this new roster, we saw some really new dynamics for some of the teams, especially coming in from our currently who's taking that top 1 in that leaderboard ranking at this current time, and that's gonna be Vega Esports, the Malaysia team.
Yep, and here we also have in the mix as well, we have Team Newbies, we have Monk, Game Start Win, Orcatera, Atto Esport, Unlucky, Nirvana, Rebirth, Soldier Gaming, and Zen Esports as well. And out of all these, for Team Newbies, they are the only team representing the Indian region, and they're also making their debut in the APAC scene as well. What did you make of their performance so far yesterday?
Unfortunately, especially just looking from the leaderboard alone, they did have their time in the sun as well, because they were able to banked it on mostly on positioning wise. We didn't see as much aggression unless it's required coming from Team Newbies here. So, but then again, we did see a little bit of good fight. There was also at the same time, yesterday's 5 matches, right? So Cloud, it was every team was receiving very punishing circles, and I'm not talking about towards the end. I'm talking about during like phase 1. You get this like circle that, especially on the map of Erangel, for example, you get this southwestern corner heavily shifted towards Primos area. Not a lot of lands, not a lot of options for a lot of those teams, especially with the flight path. A lot of the teams actually was so far from the initial phase 1 circle as well. So it really put a lot of teams yesterday in a position where how do they want to tackle this problem? How do they want to get those really good spots from this? Do they want to leave much more earlier? Do they want to take them time, slowly siege their way at the edge of the circle, which is somewhat viable here for the map of Erangel.
Yeah, especially if your initial drop spot is far away from the circle, then you need to travel more, you spend less time looting. If the opposite happens, then, well, when you drop, the circle's right on top of you, you can take your time to loot, so it's always a good feel to have that circle on top for you, especially like if you're playing inside Erangel, in which we'll be playing right after this. You're in military base, and the circle is there, it's perfect.
You know, just now we had a look at the leaderboard, right, and just just want to talk. I just want to continue to touch on a little bit because most of the time we're talking about or at least yesterday contra nine, we were constantly talking about the top few teams, the top end of the leaderboard, right? But now I want to talk a little bit about the bottom half right now because
Mm.
usually day one. It's the kind of thing where teams just is about like who gets out of the blocks, right? Who's the one that's going to be setting the tone in this lobby as we saw it to make our way towards night two, right? Or at least night two here, right? Night two is about the teams that's going to be like that didn't quite have the best night one. Can they rebound? Can they really find that solid performance tonight here, or at least try to get themselves into that top eight here? Like for at least for example, like Savage Man Esports, right? Probably not the best night for them, but they do have this track history where they always will be able to get back into that top eight or at least that top five, or at least make it to qualifiers. But right now we are looking for that team that's trying to get at least to that top four, right? Because that's where the most team is going to be able to accumulate most of the PMS points and the PGC here for PGC points. And so a lot of those teams in the bottom half will be trying to make their way and really kick it into high gear because it's currently night two. They did the research, they did the rundown, and I'm really excited to see how well the team's going to fare, especially for Team Unlucky yesterday, who in previous PMS, by the way, been really super passive. They were used to be in the team called Irohani Papeta Samurai, right? A very passive team back then. Didn't show much aggression unless to the final circle. But yesterday we saw an absolutely new firefighter really setting the foundation for themselves. They were literally majority out of the majority of those 5 matches, they were always within that top 3 placement, even earning one of their chicken dinner for themselves with a huge amount of total kills as well. So we're seeing Team Unlucky in an entirely new light here. It's really great to see them how they're faring so far for day one. But let's see how fair they will go for night two.
But we're going to compare the head-to-head with players from different teams. We have Aimbot and also Alec here being compared with each other. When it comes to the number of kills, it's pretty similar. But look at the average damage by Alec. Wow. And we're talking about average, right? So yes, it's like 200-ish points different, but because it's average, right? So that means in reality, it's actually way more for Alec.
Actually, you're right. So this is just like a very summarized one. Yesterday, Alec was on an absolute roll. Sure, he did. Eventually,
Higher
Iron Boss
FPS.
gets the most amount of total kills in the entire lobby. 15 kills, Alex getting 14. But Alex also on an absolute tear. He may not be able to get the top one ranking for the total amount of kills, but he got number one for the total amount of damage output, which is literally 2,800 points. The second place is, I believe, is going to be Iron Bots, which is 1,800 points. The difference is 1,000 points in damage. So, Claudia, Alex was on an absolute tear in yesterday's matches as well. And one match alone, he was out of the amount of total kills. I believe the team had 13 total kills on the map of Erangel. I believe that's match one. Alec walked out that round with 7 kills alone. He pretty much
Yes,
contributed
buddy.
60% of his team's
PMS
kills
day 2
for
है.
to secure that chicken dinner. Yeah.
Oh man, that was insane. But can he continue on the momentum today? That would be the bigger question, right? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of teams would have looked through the votes after the last game and they might think to themselves that, how are we going to stop that team? How are we going to stop Alec in particular? So that's going to be a challenge for him today. And of course, the challenge for Vega Esports, representing the Malaysian region, to keep their number one spot now.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be the question here. But Vega Esports, our Malaysia team here, of course, we did see an Iron Boss being one of the few newer players also inside this roster as it is. AJ and Iron Boss were the two teams that we were currently in question. However, the unique thing was the fact that they were pairing with very experienced veteran players, both of them being TD and M. Two players which I was telling Contra yesterday that the two unlikely duo that I didn't expect to be in the same roster here, and it really skyrocketed for Vega Esports during the last matches for night one. Sure, first 2 matches a little bit shaky, but they were still earning like a couple of kill points. They were still trying to maintain that consistency at least. But we got to match 4. They went on an absolute tear. They also closed in the night for match 5 for themselves. No chicken dinner, unfortunately. They only got it for during match 4. Match 5, they were able to secure for themselves, but just did enough damage, enough points to elevate themselves all the way to that first ranking, overthrowing Orgless, who was actually holding that top 1 spot for quite a while, actually.
Yep, and Oculus, of course, some of these players are really, really OG, right? Like CJ, like Mad Dog, they've been in the scene for the longest time. So it's
You
great
should
to see
know
them
them.
still really active. Oh
I
yeah, I've
believe you
seen
should know
them.
them pretty personally, right? Because I believe you have that history. Like you and them are like pretty much the same era, right? The godfather of
Oh man,
Apex PUBG.
yeah. I mean, I've seen them grow up. At one time they were still learning how to run. When they were a kid, and then now they are like sprinting. So yeah, it's great to see these players like grew up with the game over the years and still actively play. And not only actively play, they're playing at the top of their performance still.
Yeah, it was really cool that they actually reconvened back together. Like it's really like that classic Archangel Predator lineup once again, right? Like in previous Master Series, they weren't really like this entire roster. It was pretty much two of them was being from Happy Squad, then they came back here for this PMS 2026. But anyway, yeah, this is Team Unlucky. We already somewhat addressed a little bit of us. Three of the members, both them being Runax and Gonil. Gordon and Fan and Feven. Three of them was originally from the Irohani Puppeta Samurai. And this time in this tournament for night one, they really set up a very solid foundation. I think this is probably like the strongest I ever seen coming from them for at least this past two PMS season, two past PMS phases season here. So it's really cool coming from them. I can't wait to see how well they will fare here for night number two, right? Because this is usually, I
Oh,
believe, even from your experience, right, where night two is usually where or at least night two of the week, or at least of the tournament, is where teams really kick into high gear. They
Hello, hello,
really
mic
start.
test.
They divorce. They've managed to shake off whatever rust they had during night one. They got accustomed to most of the team's play style. Now this is where they bring whatever they research, whatever they had discussed, whatever mistakes they have somewhat covered here to night two to further their lead here or solidify themselves before we get to that final night tomorrow.
sorry, I was partly distracted because one of the players he was shirtless and he was standing up. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Hello, hello, mic test.
calm down, dude. This is not that kind of broadcast, okay? Uh, man, guys, they got to know that they're on the broadcast watched by millions out there. So yeah, I take a chill pill. But
Let's
here we
go.
go.
Game number
Definitely
one
not gonna
start.
chill here. We're gonna start our first game here in OG map. Rango with a flight path from the side of Milta Power all the way to the left side of Primos. A very sound and side sort of flight path. If it's going to be the same circle as yesterday, it would be
Hope
great.
for the
But
best for
if
Team
this kind of flight
Newbies,
path,
Team
the
India.
circle goes all the way up north, then it's going to be quite a challenge for a lot of these teams.
Actually, we had really very balanced flight paths. It's very centralized flight paths on the side of the map. It's just a circle that was just doing very heavy shift, especially for that phase one here. So, like you mentioned, yes, if it does heavily shift to the north side, could be a little bit of a problem for some of the teams that actually drop towards that south side of that island due to how the flight path is currently being settled as well for most of these teams. But we do notice that a lot of these teams are now doing their respective long dives, securing vehicles. I mean, it's Iranga, right? It's that kind of map where you just want you can actually still play around the edges here, but you can get that really good spots, especially teams like Team Unlucky and GSW. These are the two teams so far that they were always trying to prioritize that good positioning as early as much as possible and just really lock themselves down here. The really nice circle for that phase one here. A lot of the teams should be pretty satisfied with it. Decent amount of cover, decent amount of combos for them to play with. We do see a potential hot zone in this current location between both team newbies here and
Oh,
Orglis.
Orglas.
But I believe the priority would just be the vehicle here. Team Newbies will be going to the house. They did manage to get at least some basic weaponry to try to contest for it, but they will prioritize the vehicle, and that'll be one vehicle soloed away from Team Newbies.
Can they get one
Okay,
kill?
shots fired onto them, but they should be okay. I
Disconnect
believe
one.
that they're far enough right now. And Unforgiven with an iron sight AK, that sort of range, that level of recoil, yeah, it'll be hard to hit the shots, but that's okay. It's still the very beginning. But you know what? With this kind of circle, there's still that little bit of a military base down there. So there's that small chance that the circle could shift all the way down south, and it'll be super interesting if that happens.
Yeah. Which is pretty much why we're going to be seeing a lot of teams, especially who's currently in the dead center of the circle, right? Just try to at least centralize themselves. Just because of witnessing all the circles that we saw yesterday, right? So I believe they just want to be in a situation where, all right, if the circle were to shift in this sort of manner, we'll still be within close proximity or at least there is option for us to tackle it. Because I believe yesterday there was a lot of teams where they were forced in a scenario
Oh,
where it's like
sneaky,
pretty much
sneaky player.
50-50 where, okay, we know there's going to be a team there. But do we really want to take the risk for that? Do we want to gamble it right out in the open here to try to win all those close fights? And speaking of close fight, we might just see one that's going to be happening currently, and it's going to be Alter Ego against Savage Man. And Xavier is currently too far from the rest of the team. Not sure whether the rest of the squad is currently en
Xavier
route for
kind
the
of trapped
reinforcement here.
है.
But Xavier, he's hearing a lot of sound cues.
Depend करता है
He knows
backup
the
पे.
impending team that's going to be moving in. Now it's going to be making his final stand.
And he's all alone though. They see him going up to the second floor. The chase is on with AUG.
Oh,
Queen
flashed.
moves in, but he blinds himself. Oh man, that's a little bit unlucky there. If Queen wasn't blinded, then he might have got it.
Now we see the rest of the members of Savage Man, not the entire team just yet. We do see Upchen playing a little bit on the Overwatch positioning, covering the flank side, so no Alter Ego member will try to flank them from the other end here. But then again,
Molly
Queen and the last side of the team playing around on the first floor here. We do see two on the other side, or also known as Zia, try to pin them down here, try to give a little bit of a breathing room for the rest of the team. Upchen repositioning himself towards the north side of the compound here to see if he can get a better angle, because they do have one of the members on that southern side. Now suddenly it feels like Alter Ego is somewhat boxed in. Trade gets knocked
nice
out
trade.
with a shotgun at hand. Still managed to recover and do a fantastic trade. So the saves will be there. No kill points will be going to the side here for Savage Man Esports. While Les comes in for Chu with the swing. Will it be enough? No, unfortunately for Xavier, it's not going to be enough. He gets removed, Chu gets knocked down, and now they were able to go for the save, and Alter Ego would not be losing any of their members at this current stage.
Oh, and Happy Squad is around the corner monitoring the situation. RDK trying to get Upchen, but Upchen went up that hill, and he'll be safe for now. So it looks like Alter Ego, they won this fight, and they'll be A-OK. But look at the mini-map there. Upchen went to where Happy Squad is at now, and he seems to be in a bit of a trouble, and he will be eliminated.
This is not the kind of opening you are trying to, or at least the team is trying to look for here, especially if you're in the bottom. We were just talking about it being in the bottom of the leaderboard here. Can't really afford, especially with only being 5 matches per day, right? It feels so punishing if you're bailing out from each of these rounds so early without able to farm any points as much as possible here. But we still do have that one lone member here. Not sure whether he's going to be able to get all those tags to go for those res here. But it all comes down to Lun Lun just playing nearby. He does have a blue beacon tower near him as well, but just no tags for the res. Res coming on the other side, we do see the GSW alongside with ATO, who's currently in the 15th place. One member short here, but GSW is just Xiao Feng. We do show the IGL, who has been creating massive wave for GSW so far, pointing them in the right direction in terms of engagement, as we were witnessing in match number 1, or at least night 1 here. So now they're getting all these corners. They're trying to get that intel. And so far, I believe from an eagle eye point of view, they somewhat managed to surmise that most of the ATO members is currently just stuck in that house, in that particular building for itself.
Yeah, if only they have all 4 team members, right? At least they can cover all 4 corners. But now with 3, they make do with whatever that they have. And it's not easy to gun them down, or at least get them out before they can rush in. Looks like the members of Ato, they are pretty nice and safe inside the building.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Like, because usually, right, if we're just talking on stats, right, usually in a 4v3 head-on, right, most of the time the team with the most members is usually the one that's going to be coming up the win here. Sure, there are ways to isolate a lot of these fights to try to get that, to turn that disadvantage to an advantage for the team, but just seeing with GSW's positioning so far, fortunately, not enough utilities to flush them out of the buildings. Hence why we're seeing just GSW just keeping at a near distance here, or keeping them at arm's length.
And Xeno's just waiting. But definitely they know that they're being watched, so they won't step out. Not like they have a reason to really step out at phase 1. They're currently nicely tucked in circles, so they'll be okay. They'll hold this position for now. But they have to do something at some point. So the smoke been deployed. Are they going to make their big move? Nah.
Nope. I mean, no reason. And I was, just as I was mentioning earlier, just not enough offensive orders to really flush them out. And speaking of the other side, now coming in from one of our Oceanity, Monk, and that's going to be Nikos. Glad to have him back here. And he's back in this PMS with an entirely new roster here. Yes, they had their ups and downs here, but hey, man, they still have the firepower. And it's really great to see coming in from Monk too. But let's see, today this day is night two. They definitely intend to scale up that leaderboard for sure to try to solidify
Oh,
themselves. It looks like they're actually
clutch
engaging or
moment.
crashing upon one of the members of Vega Esports here. We do see Iron Bots. That's one of their main fraggers
मॉन्क की टीम
coming
को नहीं
into the
पता कि वो
fray.
फर्स्ट फ्लोर आ
TD
चुका है.
also probably alongside with Iron Boss. Yep, there he is, alongside with them as they try to get a nice, because they currently have this 2-2 setup, right? So a good flanking maneuver here, but they just need to bide their time. We do see Orders flush throwing
Nice.
into the building. TD was able to find an angle on Nico. There goes
Nice
the drop.
trade.
There goes the surprise. Able to go for the trade back as well. And now it's currently down to a 3v3. Who has the angle here is a little bit of a different story. USC trying to find an opening. Throws a flash to try to go for the reset, try to go for the roundabout, but gets spotted out by a well-placed positioning coming from M tier, and now forcing UNC back into the building. And now he's turned to have his back against the corner or against the wall.
And now going up to a third floor. Maybe you utilize the rooftop. Let's see what will the decision be. Okay, but M is on the other building though. Not sure if he knows that he's there. Now he's putting himself in the position where he's surrounded by the players of Vega Esports. And Bot gets Asu. And now two members left. And UNC takes a lot of damage there, but he does have enough healing utilities to reset. Oh!
Oh, fantastic nade coming in from them as well. Orders looking absolutely solid. Now
Nice
there's
nade.
two members of Monk that's inactive for the side. Monk is down to the last player here. It's going to be Barape. He did manage to get another knock. Try to
1v2
see if he can try to
situation.
equalize the situation in this 1v2. AJ goes for a little bit of a safer call here. They got the angles covered too. Goes for the revive. Try to increase
देखते किस साइड का शिफ्ट
more
है. वैसे तो
manpower
नॉर्थ
here
होना
to
चाहिए.
even out or at least balance the odds
50
here.
50 है अभी भी तो.
And look at
Yep.
Terra. They're making a big
Northwest shift
rotation all the way up north to come in. Don't mind taking a bit of the blue. Parasu and UNC confirmed eliminated by Vega Esports. Are they done yet? They should be done yet. Yeah, they're done. Right now, the circle shifted away from this building, so they're deciding on where to go next.
Which is fine for them at least. They managed to knock out Monk. Honestly, I thought it was going to be Savage Man going to be the first team to be eliminated away, but Luna was still able to stick. Will be able to stick it around. Monk will be the first team to bail out here, and Vega Esports again, who's currently taking the top rank 1 positioning in the leaderboard, is going to be able to feel very satisfied with the fact that they're able to get 3 points off the bat here. Not too worried about losing that 4th member. You know, Iron Boss was actually within the vicinity. They were able to secure this compound, so I think the rest is definitely going to be in order here. Trying to get as many members on the board, especially as they slowly make their way to that final phase. NRSG, on the other hand, also making their way into the circle currently. Naturally, getting gatekeep is going to be by Zenshin here. Team Zenshin does this 1-3 setup, definitely covering a little bit more ground here. Not too worried about Sly, because Sly at the back with Sly is currently literally just the Ocean Warders here. So no worries about him being flanked here. But if NRSG decides to crash into him, might be a little bit of a different story here. But right now, NRSG... thankfully for the small ditch that they have, should be able to try to go for the reset and replan how they're going to be the next place they're going to be going for here. But it looks like Zenshin also being peppered by another team from the
drive-by
back
knock दे
side
दिया.
here. But not
Fox को.
before God was able to find Sly on the further end here and securing that southern side for the team.
Yeah, and Sly went out, so now Zenshin down to 3 players. They're playing by the edge of the circle, though. They can still play the gatekeeping role against NRG. And NRG, knowing that they have the man advantage now, are they going to just rush in? It's still going to be a bit of a risk because there's a lot of open space in front of them. Now we switch over to Shadow Esports. And they almost got their target there. There goes. The suspect is found.
Oh, that is unfortunate to lose suspect coming from the side here of Armored Esports here. They went on with a bang, by the way, and staying towards the final matches of the night for night 1 here too. Managed to check out a couple of the rusts. It's really great to see them really back to that down, because if we're just talking about like previous history before, Armored Esports was previously known as Justice for Tomorrow, right? In PMS 2025 Phase 1, they were always around like that bottom of the leaderboard, around 12 to 13 place. But ever since, the difference in Phase 2 was the newly addition of Suspect, and that really changed things for how the dynamic. Because back then, without Suspect being joined the team, it felt like they were pretty hesitant in most of their action on how their routes they want to engage, in how in the points of engagement. But once Suspect came in, it felt like they were really being pointed in the right direction, really getting really great calls here, and they're able to at least get to that fifth placing back at phase 2 last year, 2025. This year, great to see them back again, this time under the new name Armor Esports. We'll just see how well they fare so far. They had a really great last 2 matches. They did lose, unfortunately, they did lose Suspect relatively early. Not sure they were going to be able to get the res in time. But, hey, he's going to be able to still direct the table support his team from the sidelines. Whereas we're going to be seeing the next phase circle here, Cloud. It's going to be a more centralized circle. Teams still have decent amount of areas to play with. Still a couple of open fields here, but still a couple of decent amount of forestry towards that southern side for team to utilize. Where's the northeastern side? Well, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge here. That's pretty much why we see Armor Esports just make a quick headway into the circle itself, because there's just not much cover for them to deal with. Because most of the combat is currently occupied by most teams at the current moment of time.
Oh, NRG ka bit down.
And look at the elimination feed right now. Looks like Alter Ego in a fight with NRG. Long range taps by Queen. And NRG, they are in trouble right now. Faith and Crazy Dog, both of them eliminated. And Turtle for NRG looks like he's retreating into the inner side of the circle.
Yeah, Alter Ego is just farming points now. They know it's pretty much imperative to try to further solidify their foundation from night 1. A beautiful spray coming in from 10 Trip as well, courtesy of the positioning as well. They will be able to get the kill, and unfortunately, our NRSG will be the second team to be removed here from match 1 of night 2. Now that we see Shadow Esports slowly making their way in, they were a very super aggressive team yesterday as well, getting all those kills. Not a lot of placement points for themselves, but still racking up those kill points, trying to be consistent as much as possible, earning them that top 8. Let's see how well they fare so far. They're getting a couple of tags on team that's currently being occupied in the flatlands here. But yeah, there's just not a lot of covers out here at all. Not enough to protect those vehicles either. I don't think Zen Esports going to be staying there for too long. On the other hand, team newbies on the hand will be able to find Orca Terra during mid rotation. It's going to be able to farm a couple of kills from the cells, trading it back and forth. And Happy Squad also being alerted by the sound of the commotion here. Did spot some of the members of Team Zenshin, but not ready to reveal the current location of time.
Team Newbies ki.
The fight of Team Newbies was happening on the left side of the circle. To be exact, on the outer side of it. And not sure if it's still going on. Okay, yes, it is. Unforgiven just got taken out. So I believe that Team Newbies, they only have 1 player left. Yeah, 2 players. 2 players. So they're still fighting there though for sure. I wonder for how long, because right now we're talking about phase 3 moving to phase 4, and it's definitely going to hurt when the Blues on top of them.
Lun. Oh, yep, he hasn't. Yeah, Luna hasn't really left his ball for quite some time now. Still the exact same position as he was since from phase 1, after losing 3 of his teammates on the other side. So playing a little bit of the long game here, so you can go for the place in here. Whatever points count. Alter Ego on the other hand, still within the safety of the circle. No reason for them to really at least leave their current position as well. I believe they are going for this 2-2 setup as well, covering more ground, getting a lot more intel, especially. Phase 4 is also going to be, we're going to be seeing that phase 5 shortly here as well. Circle's still in the favor of Alter Ego, so no reason for them to leave anytime soon. Pretty much got this nice control towards that southeastern side. London, although what might be a little bit of a wild card, but we do see GSW also slowly making headway towards that eastern side shortly. We'll just see how well that fight goes. Team Unlucky, the team who has been so far trying to get that positioning, will try once again to solidify a decent one for themselves as they slowly make their way in through the western side, not before they run into GSW or even Orca Terra. It's not the full squad of Orca Terra on the other hand. They did lose one of their members midway. But even Happy Squad is also going to be joining in the fray here for the Battle of the North.
He almost got it. Achim Boss probably needs just one more bullet through. Oh! Counter fire for the other side. It came from Ia, from August. All right. Looks like now Happy Boss will need to pick him up. And not only that, they need to fight against the incoming August.
Hello, Dip.
Definitely drawn in. They want to see if they can try to flush him out.
Dip.
It's the
देवनाथ.
kind of spot they don't really want to have
Sorry
a
अगर
team
pronounce
so
गलत कराऊँ
close
तो.
by interacting here
Hello
at
bro,
them. They
कैसे हो
didn't
आप?
want to be disturbed at any point of time. Really want to try to force them out. They're seeing the trajectory of the utility being flying there, so they know there's someone nearby. Unlucky on the other hand, seems like they'll be crushing. They're going to be crashing to within the
Nice
vicinity
crash
of
by unlucky.
GSW here, and they were able to win a massive fight, a
सही है
big
भाई.
win
और क्या
coming in
हाल
from
है?
Team Unlucky
बस
as well.
बढ़िया भाई.
And the best
PMS
part
देख
about
रहे
it
हैं
is,
देखो.
Club, they did not lose a single one of the members. 2 knocks for sure, but they're still here for the for
Team
for the
newbies for the
pickup here.
win.
So no rest required. A very big fight and a lot of points achieved for Team Unlucky. But then again, at the same time, it is an open field. I don't think a lot of their
TN
vehicles
हाँ
will
TN है इसमें.
can be salvageable in this situation. So as teams are slowly peppering
NRC और
down
sniper बचे हैं
whatever
बस.
suspected vehicle that's within their crosshair, currently as well we're witnessing
Last
from
crash में 2
Anarchy's
down हो गए.
POV. Unlucky, able to get that 3
इसमें
points
तो
from the
तब
cell.
मजा
Look like
आया था.
Orca Terra is going to be
हाँ
joining
अरे
into the
यार
fray,
मैं
trying
थोड़ा
to see if
रीच
they
के
can
लिए
try
कर रहा था.
to pick up whatever
कल
whatever
कल मैं full
whatever
screen
crumbs
करूँगा
left
इसे.
behind from the previous fight here, how they get
कल
capitalized
से
on
जो
this.
streams
Trying to
करूँगा ना
flush them out with the
full screen
utility. Do they
करूँगा.
have enough ordnance on the other to flush them out?
आज
They got
tolerate
some
कर लो
decent
थोड़ा.
corners, decent room to play it into at least the hideout in here, but just no angle. Orca Terra, they knew for a fact that, all right, they got no choice. They might just have to push or siege or breach into the building just to try to flush them out. Those smokes is not going to last for too long here.
And sunny side up.
Oh
Alright for
nice.
him, and beautifully done.
Well
Underneath
done.
the vehicle, he found his target.
Successful
And
crash
unlucky.
by
They don't
unlucky.
need luck. They have skill.
Really well done. Really fantastic defense coming in from Team Unlucky. And looks like it's not just Orca Terra, looks like
Nice.
Team
TN
Newbies
पे
is
अच्छा
slowly
zone है.
encroaching on the position. But I don't believe that's the full team here. Oh, actually, no, they're not
इन
really,
लोगों के लिए
really
सोलो
sieging into the
खेलने के लिए
compound.
सही
They're
है.
just making use of the shack that is fine. Not, it's pretty much the flatlands here, right? So not a lot of
और
area,
जितना मुझे
or
लगता
at
है
least decent
अनलकी
amount
को
of
इनकी
compounds are
रीड होगी
covered
नहीं.
here, at least towards this northwestern side. And Team Unlucky so far able to fend off against 2 teams to earn all those points for themselves. 6 points is a very great start for themselves here.
Ooh, but Oculus now coming in onto Happy Squad. They were at each other for quite a while now, but beautiful nib by Mad Dog onto Tantrip. Tantrip now down, calling up for help. His teammate not going towards him to pick him up, but then again, Oculus, they're closing the gap. They're throwing all their utilities to try to flush out the members of Happy Squad. And Monty right now is in trouble. He's taking a bit of damage there. And look at the flank that's currently coming in from Oculus. They're having Happy Squad surrounded.
Yeah, this is the exact aggression that we were seeing coming from the side for Oculus as well. They knew they were already pinning them down from one angle. 2 teams comes in for the flush. They're in the best of the body. They're constantly keeping track on the team that the number of players remaining that's been knocked down. Naturally, sort of, and it's going to be courtesy of Alex. Shock, sword off to the face. No way the man's going to be able to. We're going to be withstand that kind of damage in
I
close
think
range.
इनको इस रीड पे
Although they did lose Ia, should be able to go for the pickup on CJ. However, the Bloods in the water, the Shocks are coming in. And Alter Ego, of course, another super aggressive team here in the tournament, naturally drawn into the fight here to see what can they capitalize from this situation from the previous fight. But Sally, too many
Nice
angles
pinch.
that's peppering him down. And it's going to be a very simple pickup for Mad Dog here for the team. CJ still hasn't been picked up just yet here, but with Alter Ego at least being bruised here at this current moment of time, they should at least give a little bit of a breathing room for August to try to go for the resets here. It looks like Luna is going to be caught out here. Did manage to secure at least 2 kill points before leaving for the round. It's not a lot, but at least it's something at least.
Well, better than nothing, they say. But for Shadow Esports right now, coming in from the southern side, there's one person right in front of him. It's going to be Hansi trying to find his way through. The smoke is still active. That will give him a little bit more cover. Oh, but his teammates here. Looks like it's going to be 2v1. He should be able to do the business, but Dusky got Jaxi and Hansi. He'll focus on picking up his teammate before continuing on the fight.
This is really hard for all teams that's currently in the flatlands, right? Because this is the kind of situation where there's at this current position, there's not a lot of compounds for the teams to play with here. So sure, probably towards the northern side, but if that circle, that phase 6 circle were to shift down south, now it's going to be a little bit of or at least southeastern side. Now we're going to be seeing a lot of teams that's going to be very somewhat purely dependent on utilities or smokes in this case to someone to give them a decent amount of cover for them. There's barely any forestry. There's no shack. There's not a lot of shacks for them to play with here. Even Shadow East was just currently set up set out a little bit of a defense here. Now understands that, all right, we got to move in. We just don't really have a choice here. Vehicles, let's be honest, I don't think vehicles going to be able to survive the constant harassment, or at least the tagging that's going to be happening in the flylands. There's just no cover at all. So hopefully the vehicles will just give a decent amount of angles, which is pretty much imperative for all these teams to currently secure their respective areas or their edges at least before they make their way in here. So let's just give a little bit of assurance or some comfort of the idea where, all right, we just have to look towards our southeastern side. We don't really have to look at our backs because we pretty much secured that northern hemisphere. At least that's from Team Unlucky's point of view. There's still one member of Team Newbies, although that could be a little bit of a wild card there. But we'll just have to see later on. That southern side, man. Once that circle start pushing them in, Shadow Esports needs to make a massive gamble here. No smokes from what I remember here, at least on both Jaxi and Hansi. I don't think they have any more smokes here. And with all the peppering they're doing as well, ATO is getting ready to greet them in kind.
Nice.
And it's not just ATO, I believe it's even Zanshin also is getting, or Zen Esports is also within the vicinity. But looks like Unlucky from the kill feed alone, we'll be able to clear out that northern side as they were able to find some additional more members, and there goes Team Newbies.
Team Newbies out at number 7. And now we're down to 6 teams, including Vega Esports on the outer side of the circle, now needing to fight their way through. And Oculus will be the one to try to stop them. But Oculus, one player currently down, needs to be picked up. But at the same time, there's another team on the southern side. And they actually got empty. Right now, they're going to save him. They have to save. Or the star players there. Can they make it in time, though?
Biding them time. Still decent amount of smokes here on the hands of Vega Esports as well. Since they did manage to close out the fight against the Monks, so I believe they should have decent amount of smoke grenades still utilizing to set out smoke trails as they make their way closer into the circle, or at least get close enough to Oculus. They still have the vehicle in hand. No TD, unfortunately, as usual. Their entry frag is out of the picture most of the time, but hey, man, he still does an insane amount of damage in the previous matches as well. So he will entrust the rest of the responsibility to the rest of the team while supporting them from the sidelines here. Very eSport, they still have the vehicle and found the angle. Finds CJ, gets the knock. There goes Orgless, and instantly, now Very Esports, they get a sigh of relief at the idea where, all right, we're currently almost the king of the East here. Now only left with Shadow Esports, who's slowly making their way in. The current position that they're in allows actually the Blues are going to be traversing a little bit more slower than usual. That's why we see Shadow Esports able to slowly make their way in. And Vega Esports, they are loving this. Now they don't have to worry about the idea where, okay, how are we going to be making our way into the circle? Because we're still within the circle, and we still have our defensive ground that is somewhat set up with vehicles alone. Not a lot of smokes left though, at least on the side here of M, but I believe AJ or Iron Boss there have 1 or 2. So that's going to be a little bit of a saving grace later on when we see how phase 8 circle is going to be like here. However, Shadow Esports still tiptoeing their way in, thankfully. Zen Esports currently keeping ATO members in check here. So that's going to allow Shadow Esports to have a little bit of a breathing room here. But here comes Vega Esports with the mortar set out. Let's see whether the Ordnance Master is going to be able to get some good shots in.
I have to keep an eye on Jaxi, though, from Shadow Esports. Vega Esports don't know that he's down south. So they could be surprised later on.
Copy short.
But empty. Nice one onto Lolba, knocking him down. Not able to secure the elimination point yet. Jiswan will be taken out as well by Runax. Looks like the big fights are happening right now. Jiswan took a bit of risk to go straight into the middle of the circle, but he paid the price for it.
Nice knock by Mota.
There's the mortars we were looking for. Gonna be able to find Gops at the same time. Another one connects, and Iron Bots absolutely landing the artillery on top of ATO. Getting the necessary coordinates to land these shots and completely removing them from play. And now we're down to our final 4 here. Zen Esports previously was having the most amount of members here. They did lose one while trying to make their way into the circle here, courtesy of both Unlucky and even Vega Esports here. But now Unlucky is going to be Fevered, who actually made a forward assault here. Going to be spotted out from the sideline before the smokes actually fully dissipate here. Will be knocked down. Team comes in, it's going to be Sunny side up here to try to go for the rest. This is the kind of situation where you just need to have as many manpower as much as possible. Can't afford to lose any more members at this current point of time. Not with this many teams that's still that's still contestable in this current state of time.
And most teams already inside the circle, except
What
for
a
one
need.
player down south. But we're going to focus on to Vega Esports right now.
the
One
more
nade right in
no.
front. Oh, that was a really close one. Aimbot has to get away. Second nade will not connect at all.
Nice
that
reposing.
really well done coming from Runax, just keeping Iron Bots in check. Not going to allow him to go for flight to try to pressure the team here. Not a lot of covers in the first place here, but if Iron Bots was able to get a really good angle, it might spell doom for the side of a team unlucky. So really well done for Runax. He has a really nice defensive foothold set up here with the vehicle that's covering towards at least towards his southern side, a barrier on the left here too, so he can somewhat juggle between the two teams here. And like I love what you brought up as well, Saka, regarding the role that Jaxi has to play here. Could be a potential nuisance and an archangel of destruction for any impending team here. He does have one of the potential angle of Zen Esports. I'm not sure about Vega though, but from the current angle that Jaxi is looking at, I think he only has his eye on one of the lurking members of Zen Esports here.
Yeah, and he's going to pull the trigger. Maybe not, but he has to move forward at some point as well.
5 seconds.
And he's going there. He's getting closer and closer. He wants to get a good clear shot. Will he do it against Namxiao? He does have an M4 with a hollow. Perfect weapon in this kind of situation. Okay, down. Time to take away the point. Oh, but he's going to use a molly just to secure that elimination point. Can he actually get it? No, it's behind the vehicle. Not yet. But he's moving forward right now. At that point, we'll go to the hands of Jaxi.
Yeah, that's gonna be a steal there. For really fantastic job covered for Shadow Esports, just having that one lone member, despite all the odds as well with the position that was not really favorable for them either. So if we get 3 points and place on the tile, that's great. But unfortunately for Team Unlucky, just constantly getting pinned down by two teams separately, especially this is the Flatlands here as well. And now it comes down to both Vega Esports and Team Zen Esports to have to make the final tail. Shadow Esports, on the other hand, I'm not sure whether the intel was somewhat passed over to the members of Zen Esports that, hey, there's still one guy, there's still one lurker that's still playing on the backside of the map. It's phase 9 now. Iron Boss is knocked down. He was actually trying to be the anchor player for the team here. So moving forward here, they didn't manage to go for the revive. Now they managed to even out the odds here. 3v3s here. But enough intel has been spread out. Now Vega knows briefly at the fact that, okay, a majority of the members of Zen Esports in that area, no one's trying to lurk out, no one's trying to spread out here. So they can just focus primarily in that area. But the same could be said for Vega here. Since they're just barely in the cover anymore. They still have the vehicles to play with here, but it's a little bit too close for comfort here. We do see a little bit of aggression coming in from AJ. Can he get out of time to go for the reset here? Gets tagged down to 1 HP. Barely lasts long enough, but now in range for the Ordnance. But does he have enough for this? So far, we do see a little bit of flashes. I'm not too sure whether he has any more grenades for this. But with that initial foothold, now you see the rest of the members of VG slowly sieging forward, stage by stage. One vehicle first, then the second vehicle, the close in the distance to bring this fight in the CQC, or at least a mid-range fight. No more long range, no more DMRs. It's all the rifles out now, and they're trying to look for that headshot to pick off here. Whereas Jaxi here, a snake in the grass. Oh, dude, this could be quite detrimental for who spots who first here. Jaxi, I think he has his visual towards Vega, mainly because of the vehicles here. But he's playing with time here. Blue Zone is slowly forcing him forward here. Zen Esports, no idea about this snake that's currently within their vicinity here. As all focus is towards VG's current position at this point of time.
And he's actually heading more towards Zen. Who might be his next target? I can't believe that. The comms. Did they not know from the earlier fight that Jaxi is still there, but MT gets this one? Oraculus goes down to the hands of AJ as well. And now Kenz, no space for him to move, but he's still able to get that one dog down. Kenz! Could he do it? The answer is no. It is still Vega Esports with the first chicken dinner. Not even Jaxi can stop them.
Really well done. He really waited it out as well. And I believe even Jaxi, Shadow Esports, was just able to secure that second placement point too. So pretty great coming from there, and despite the situation they were in here, but really well done coming in from Vega Esports for themselves. They couldn't get their second chicken dinner, or at least back-to-back chicken dinners last, or at least during the final match of the night. They got second place, I believe, in match 5. But now for our first match on night 2 here, or day 2, they will secure the chicken dinner in such a phenomenal manner. One that was well earned and well fought for sure. Well done.
Yeah, very well done to Jaxi, of course, who held on to a second place finish and also picking up a couple of elimination points along the way as well. And like what you say, right, considering the circumstances for Shadow Esports, they'll be pretty happy with that sort of finish for themselves. Might not be the most points collected, but then still, points are points. It doesn't matter. You still did a good job. But we have to congratulate for Game 1, Chicken Dinner, Vega Esports, and these are the best moments from Game 1.
Yeah, it's really cool, right? Because especially since most of these highlights is going to be a lot of this close quarter combat situation, pretty much very similar to what we were witnessing in at least during day 1 here, or night 1 in this case here. A lot of CQCs,